So, did you know I've got a new podcast? Doesn't mean I want to stop
I
it,
did know that,
but I have
James.
got a new podcast. And we did a pilot for it, and I can talk about it now, which is great. And one thing we were talking about was the ripple effect of Chelsea and the spending.
Yeah.
And one that I thought of was that one of those players, of that list of Chelsea players, one of those players will forever be known as a flop. Like, their lives are ruined for at least one of the big guns. Do you know what I mean? Like, when these players come in, one of them's life is actually over. It's
because he doesn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, well, because obviously I think a general fear of sort of being known, I guess, is what you're known for. So, for example, I was watching a First Dates episode the other day, and there's a guy from S Club 7 in it, and you don't find that out. So, for those who don't know, S Club 7 was a pop band in the early noughties, yeah, and they were really young. And at the start of it, I was like, I know that guy's face. I'm sure I know that guy's face. And anyway, he was known. He, obviously it came out that he was in this boy band, and he's Paul from S Club 7. That's like people are associated with certain things. It might be a new bit actually, because actually, just to say, guys, Flav's been doing the overlap, and we'll find out what really happened this time. And I've been the primary carer for my son today, so I haven't even showered today. Drink that in. So there is no running order, so we're just going to shoot the bloody SHIT and keep the CPM high.
Jim, I've got a ripple effect for you.
Okay.
When I think directly related to football, when Gareth Bale, and it links to the Chelsea situation. It links to the Chelsea situation that you just mentioned as well. It's because when Gareth Bale, when he was sold to Real Madrid, the first ripple effect from that stone in the river, if you like, or pond, was the
good analogy on the ripple effect, by the way. Sorry, just to clear up, because some people have been saying that, and I haven't listened to their podcast, but Specs Gonzalez and what's his name, Tigo, I think they've got a podcast, and it's a kind of what if thing. And I haven't listened to that podcast, but from what I know of it, first of all, Specs and me are quite different in our delivery, and like no one can compete with Specs. The guy's an absolute god. I love him. Been able to do Saturday Social with him a couple of times. But also, the ripple effect will be different because it will be a bit more. The analogy that you've used there is perfect. It's not the skimming of a pebble, getting from A to Z and what's the bits in between. It will be at times, but it's more so the plonk of a brick that for some reason you've seen the brick and you feel like you've got to throw it in the pond, and it goes pa 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 pa. So yes. Yeah. So go on, Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale signs for Real Madrid, and the reaction to that was that Spurs had to spend the money. We spent the money on 7 players, the Magnificent Seven they were dubbed. And of all of those, which is what directly links to this Chelsea situation,
right?
All of them, bar, you could argue, maybe 2, but definitely 1 was a success. The rest were abject failure, who were brought in en masse based on this fact that we had this money and we had to spend it. And
can you remember the Magnificent Seven?
I can't. Well, from start to finish, it would have been Lamela, Eriksen, Kirikesh.
Who's Kirikesh?
He actually went to Roma and played in the semi-final. Ended up playing in the semi-final of Champions League against Manchester United. Yeah, leave Spurs, win trophies. That's a ripple effect.
That's the
Kirikesh, Chadley, Sigurdsson. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
How many is that? Have I named?
I don't know. I'm trying to get Chelsea's transfers up, so I wasn't totally.
Eriksen, Chadley, Sigurdsson.
Okay.
Hang on, let me try and do this. I'm not going to be able to.
Not bad players, are they?
I mean, Eriksen and Lamela. Lamela was he embodied Tottenham, and we love him because of the type of person he was. But was he ever good enough? He was never at quite the level we needed him to be, and he had terrible injuries. You would say he was a 6 out of 10 for Spurs, right? Yeah. Chadley, 5 out of 10. Again, well liked, had his moments, but 5 out of 10. Eriksen was an 8 out of 10. The rest were tripe.
Paulinho, was he one of them?
I think he might have been one of them, actually, Jim. He was garbage.
What were they called? The Magnificent Seven. The Dross Seven.
Do you know when? Within two. Generally, I think people that understand football, within a couple of games, if you're you knee jerk quite quickly about players. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah.
And I looked at Paulinho and I thought, no. No. I just thought no. And then do you know what I've got to say? And Spurs fans will hate me for this, but I had the same feeling about Richarlison. I just a no.
It's just a no, is it? That's a good bit.
And it could change. It could change. But right now, let us know your no's in the comments below. When you first saw a football, you just thought no. Bearing in mind, this is a week that Harry Kane has just broke the all-time record goal scoring for Tottenham Hotspur, and my first opinion of him was no.
Really, that's class. It's okay to be wrong, though, isn't it?
I mean, it's beautiful to be wrong. It's great to be wrong. I've got a question for you, Jim.
Yeah. Go on.
And I want everybody in the comments to let me know if I'm wrong. I cannot. There's only one possible reason why I might be wrong. My statement is this, and there's only one player you can argue with me with. Harry Kane is the best striker the Premier League has ever seen. All of the strikers that have ever played for Manchester United, Arsenal, City, all of them, Harry Kane is better than all of them. There's only one we can argue about.
Alan.
Yes. So is that so? If it's Alan Shearer, it's fair to say he's much better than Cantona. He's better than Henry. He's better than Henry. I know Arsenal fans are going because they always do. I think he's better than Henry, right? There ain't anyone in the conversation to say Aguero.
But they're different players.
What? No, you have to. You have to give me Henry. You have to.
I tell
you don't have a choice, James.
So you've got to get your wording right for me to give you Henry. What's the question you're asking me?
It's a statement. It's a statement. Harry Kane is the best striker the Premier League has ever seen. And I tell you why he's better. The only reason you can compare Shearer with me,
right,
is because he was a man of integrity. Right. And his decision, he won the league with Blackburn at the time, which was like winning the league with Manchester City, right? It was Jack Walker piled huge amounts of money in and bought the league effectively in the same way that Chelsea and Man City went about buying the league. There were no rules, stipulations, there were no spending restrictions. He went in there and just splurged. And they won the league, Blackburn of all teams. Right, and then his decision, he could have gone anywhere in the world, Shearer. And, he went to his boyhood club. He went and played for Newcastle for the rest of his life, and I think he won an FA Cup. Right? But Harry Kane has not benefited from all the things that Henry benefited from. He's had to lead and pull Tottenham through the last 10 years, whereas Henry was just a cog in a machine, an amazing, well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Freddie Ljungberg was in that team. People are going to come after me and go, Freddie Ljungberg was a hell of a player. He was fine. He was okay.
Yeah, he was good. Like, of all the players that they had, he was like he's the one you're like,
But he'd always turn up. He'd just turn up and he'd score like...
He'll give you 7 out of 10 throughout the season.
Well, yeah, he'd work hard and he'd get you a goal. He'd get you a goal in big games. He scored a lot of big goals in big games. But I didn't think he was good at football. He wasn't a good footballer. Very different. So I think I lean... I hear what you're saying. And he's going to... thing is, once he goes past numbers-wise...
When he goes past Shearer, all it is about trophies, but that's nothing to do with him as a footballer.
Yeah, that is true. When they go, but Gerrard didn't win the Prem, I'm like, shut up. Like, the guy was like, some of the players that played for Liverpool and they won trophies because of
and anyone, I know I want to talk about Man City with you because I haven't really had a chance to really sort of get into it with someone.
Get it out, yeah.
Yeah. They talked about on the overlap, but it's not a conversation really.
What really happened on the overlap though?
Before that, I want to. No one tell me Aguero because Man City got there in an unfair way. It's not a conversation. Anything like Boovy has a brilliant track record of going, but he's won all these trophies, he's won this, and unfortunately for Boovy, he's in a very difficult situation now where if Man City get proved to be incorrect, all of it just fades away. Everything they've achieved just fades away. Doesn't mean anything.
The thing with strikers as well that really adds some sauce to them is when they have to kind of do it themselves. And that's what I struggle with Aguero, and that's what's going to make it hard for any Man City striker, really, because they should be in and around it for 70% of the game. Whereas, and I know that's not how football works, but it's just how I feel. And so that's why I think in terms of out-and-out strikers, because Henry wasn't out-and-out striker. He was a savant. Was Thierry.
He sometimes played on the left.
He sort of played in a 2, didn't he? But he would always drift over to the left-hand side.
So what I'm saying, what I think you're saying here, James, is he didn't do enough as a striker to be even in the conversation. I think you're saying.
Okay, if I say to you, Thierry Henry is if we're doing a list of the greatest Premier League footballers, Thierry Henry is number 1 for me. Just so you know.
Yeah, but that's fine. You can have your list. All right, let's. All right, if I have a list of the greatest goalkeepers, Thierry Henry isn't on that list. Nor is Harry Kane. Who cares? That isn't what we're talking about.
Okay, but yeah, as a striker, yeah, it's Henry, it's Harry Kane and Shearer now, because Shearer, right? Also, I think it's worth establishing potency. When were they at their most potent? I like to think about watermarks. We talk about Gareth Bale. He might not have been totally consistent, although he turned up in a lot of Champions League games and for Wales, etc., etc. But when he was unstoppable, when people were like, "What are we supposed to do with this guy?" He was very high, Gareth Bale. And Alan Shearer had 2 knee injuries, really bad knee injuries, and he still kept scoring. He still kept scoring. When he was I don't know enough about it, but I know that season, my first season, again, show my age here, 92, 93, was 5, and he scored 18 before Christmas, and then broke his leg or something, or did his knee, and then came back and still finished top scorer. So that Shearer was unbelievable. Yeah. So it's very close. Yeah. I also
Shearer
think
didn't have to contend with VAR as well, did he?
True, that's true. But would that give you goals as well, like penalties and things?
These are all good questions, Jim. These are all good questions. Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I'll put you above Henry. I can put him above Henry. I get where you're coming from, and I think it's a really lovely place for you to be. Isn't it? It's nice. It's nice. Is he better than Rooney?
Yeah.
Can you guard again? Do you know what I would say? Rooney's a bit more all action. See, again, Rooney's probably watermark is possibly higher than. God, they're different, aren't they? Than Kane's, but Kane's consistency.
Is that because he adapted and played in midfield? He gets a lot of credit for that.
No, more like 2004 Rooney is.
Can you send me a link, Jim, so I can just see what the people are saying?
Sorry.
If I've rattled anyone, I don't.
No, I don't even know. Yeah, I know what you're just hoping you have. Can you see? I'm
not hoping I have. I just
fingers crossed. Oliver Young back in 2021, after a combined 903 appearances, the final member of the Tottenham's magnificent 7 has left the building. There they are.
Yeah.
There they are.
Terrible.
Soldado just had poor lad. See, that's what I mean. Coming back to the flops, who will be the flop for Chelsea? Who's going to be? Is it Cucurella? Will Cucurella just go and play for? You can see Cucurella at Villarreal, can't you?
I met this great, Villarreal. Or I mean, look, he's a good player. He's just not £65 million good or euros good.
So I've got a video coming out today that I reckon it might get a bit of heat. First of all, obviously, a QPR fan talking about Chelsea. People don't like it. Fine.
Yeah.
But there was this whole Mason Mount thing that's happening. Have you seen this?
No, what's going on with Mason Mount?
Well, they're all, not all of them, but I got loads of messages after Saturday Social, people saying, "How can you defend Mason Mount? Blah blah blah. He's terrible. We need him out of our club now."
Oh,
I love
really?
that. I love it when people say now. It's like It's not like I think he should go when the time comes. It's like I want him out of my club now. Like Claude, God rest him. What a line it was, wasn't it? It's like he has to go tonight. I love it. Nothing like that. Oh, bless him. Yeah. So I think Cucurella's up there in terms of one of these guys.
I think he's already on there. I think that a lot of Chelsea fans have made. I was talking to one yesterday, but a lot of Chelsea fans have made up their mind about him. Is that he's not
Cucurella.
good. Yeah, there's a lot of criticism from Chelsea. This Chelsea fan I spoke to, Simon, his name, was a bit of a legend actually. Just lives like 10 minutes down the road from me in Wiltshire as well, which is weird. Anyway, but he
is he going to be your friend
saying,
of the year? Fam's got a thing. She tries to make a new friend each year. I think it's really lovely. Don't you think? I mean, it's a great thing to kind of keep an eye on and really sort of try and get your talons into someone and make a new friend each year. It's not really a thing blokes do.
No.
They sort of like
I've got a full disclosure here, James. I've met another James.
Sorry, what?
I've met another James, and he's into football media, and he's in our world as well.
Oh, Christ. What's his fucking name?
Yeah. His name's James Felwell. He's a presenter for the BBC. He also works for 433. Do you remember them?
He's a presenter for the BBC, is he?
Yep.
Got a mainstream gig, is he? Got a mainstream gig. Nah, cool. No, mainstream's good. Mainstream's good. Yeah. I mean, some might call Spotify mainstream. I don't know. Sorry. Go on. Sorry. Carry on. So yeah.
Do you remember the social media thing 433?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only has he got a mainstream gig, Jim, he also works in our world as well.
Wow, it's amazing. So he's been able to crack both. Fantastic.
Yeah, and he's white and has glasses.
he's a white straight male, is he? And he's getting work for the BBC. Fucking hell. That's a joke. So that's great. I look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. So I guess he's my new friend for the year.
Just texting Ben Haynes.
You keep your fucking talons out of Ben Haynes. Thankfully, he sort of disappeared into clubs now, and then you and him don't mix.
No.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that time?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Right. Yeah. But now, and here we are. Was it 7 years later, and you're getting your revenge with this? What is his fucking name? James. I'm gonna get Jonathan. What?
He's just a nice guy. He's just a nice guy, Jim. All right.
Is he now?
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Well, yeah, it's a good point. Well, I do want to know what really happened at the overlap.
They've got a brand new studio.
Yeah.
Overlap. Is that interesting?
I don't know. Was there any hot takes?
I felt for Stephen McInerney.
Oh, not again. Is it someone they've gone after him again?
Well,
he hasn't. I don't know why he keeps going back. Poor bloke. Carragher destroyed him, didn't he?
Yeah, he did once. Well, the thing is, James, Manchester City haven't really even put out a proper statement or reacted to these things. There's a huge platform, the overlap, watched by millions of people. And effectively, the first time you're hearing from a Man City fan on a large platform was then. Yeah. And Stephen McInerney was being grilled like it was his fault by everybody.
Show us the account, Stephen. Show us the account.
It said you got to apologise. You should apologise on behalf of. And it's like fundamentally, as a fan, no one said that.
No, that's mad.
That's what I want you to say. Yeah. But
that would have been great. You should have gone if there had been any kind of lull. You should have gone. Do you feel like you want to apologise for everything?
Do you want to apologise on behalf of everything?
Would you like to apologise to Paul?
Ruining football, those 3 championships, my Carabao Cup. Do you want to apologise for that?
Ryan Mason walks in. Would you like to apologise to me?
Yeah. And I felt for him because there were loads of questions that, as a fan, you just can't answer. They're like saying, "Well, how do you feel like?" But what he managed to pull it off. He was sort of borderline defensive as you'd expect him to be, but also just explain the facts. Like saying, "Look, we don't know anything. All we know is what we've been read. I can't come out here then and start slagging off my own football club. It's unreasonable for you to expect me to slag off my own football club right now. We just need to come out and wash." Afterwards, I spoke to him and I went, "We're fucked."
Did it really?
Yeah. Except my mate's like a lawyer. He's well up in this stuff. Yeah, there's no reason to lie. He's a Man City fan as well. He says if Manchester City lose this, if they cannot prove their innocence, they are fucked in your letters. Fucked.
Shouldn't have.
What is fucked? Well, no. Hang on a minute. If they manipulated their books in order to achieve an advantage, and able to access the unlimited wealth they have in their coffers to create an advantage over the other teams in the league that are playing fairly, are playing by the rules, then they should be fucked. They should. The whole book should be thrown at them because you've undermined the competition. They've undermined the fabric of what this is all about. James, you especially should be furious. QPR got done.
TV out. Here we go. Yeah. No, well, look, my empathy is not towards the club or the owners of it. The empathy that I have is for the Stevens of this world that like they're just
they've had all the fun. They've had all the fun.
Yeah,
James.
Yeah.
Now
you
the chickens have come home to roost.
I mean,
Right?
I think I'm sort of one must beware hubris, and I just wonder if the Premier League. The thing here is right. What is exciting? It's what we've been kind of screaming for. Is the Premier League showing some teeth, showing some cojones, or whatever genitals you'd like to use? And you would imagine that for them to get this far, they're going to want to see it out. And if they're going to want to see it out, the only way they see it out and it looks good, because everyone likes to look good, is because they know something's up. Something's up. Like, allegedly, something's up, though, isn't it?
Look,
like
if
the lack of cooperation, and the statement is. I did a video yesterday, and I was like, I'm not going to read the statement. This is pointless. But if you actually read this, like, we're surprised. Surprised. I can't believe they used the word
100.
I can't believe they used the word surprised.
We're surprised. 100. Well, we thought 1 or 2, but 100.
Tom Jordan says, one of my patrons, just innocent men. Just normal men. Yeah.
Just innocent men.
Well, so I wasn't aware of this at all. What, like over a decade's worth of faulty accounting and
false account.
Yeah, and what's it? Stopping this course of justice. Amazing.
Have you seen that meme of the boy that there's this chicken shop or kebab shop that you buy a kebab, but underneath it would be like a wrap of gear.
Right.
And then they're interviewing this bloke, and he went, "Rah! No, I never knew that. Wow!" And you're like, "You knew all about that. You knew all about that."
Oh,
Luke said that Birmingham got a -9 points for spending £1 million on a left back. Is that right? The thing is, when it happens, it's like, who cares? It's just Birmingham, isn't it?
But that's it, mate. We've been fined. We got done. That took us back all these years. That's why we're nothing, as you said last week.
What did you get done for?
We got done for financial fair play. For overspending, obviously. And rightly so. On
Basingwa.
On Basingwa and the lot of them, all of them, yeah. From that, what's his name? Kia Jurachapan or whatever it's called. We had
so you're saying rightly so. We deserved it.
Well, but the thing is, so the people that
why aren't Man City fans?
Football is life. Football is society, and if you've got enough money, you make it go away. And that's why I want to let's stay true to this, guys. Let's not take our eye off the ball, and let's get to the end of it, because that's probably going to take a bit of time. But if it does, and they are able to fuck them, as you say, I will, as I say, I will have empathy for the fans. None of those who have become fans since they've been good, because that is just a waste of time. There's no narrative in that. But
think about as soon as I saw this, James, just as you said that, I did think about the kid I saw where I live the other day in a full Man City shirt.
Brilliant.
He was like 7. I'm like, yeah, good. I'm glad this is happening to that 7-year-old kid.
You should do print it off. Print it off. Print all of it off. All the paperwork around the financial stuff, and give it to that 7-year-old kid and make him read it. And let him understand what his club is. Read it.
I can't read. It's your fucking problem. Yeah. You chose that club.
Yeah. I mean, it's annoying, isn't it? Because you talk about everything, right? And if we were able to really talk about this honestly, I mean, no one's going to come for us, obviously, but it's just it feels quite obvious to me which way it is.
Was you surprised when it came out? No one was.
Not at all. I wondered when it was why this second, why has it happened this week? And I do. That is one thing I was thinking about. This is that to get up in a big company, to get anywhere in it, you've either got to be pretty devious or behave yourself like really well. You've got to do one or the other, I think. And not just Premier League, any place. So for them to kind of stick to it is a relief, but I'm delighted that they're going to kind of truly go down this road. But I guess the Premier League essentially is its members, isn't it? So it will be the members that will be driving it as much as anything, which is good. Like, so if they're sort of driving the self-policing of the Premier League, which has other problems, like which we spoke about last week, like Man United are linked with Qatar, a Qatar takeover now, which would be the same guy, I think, as the PSG takeover.
USI.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's another. Yeah. I mean, look, I mean, the restrictions that are in place now, and what's good about this is that for a long time, the kind of stereotype or the cliche around financial fair play is it doesn't have any teeth. That's what people always say about it.
Yeah.
What's the point at it? Because it doesn't have any teeth. Well, it does have teeth. It does have teeth because Juve cooked their books so to be compliant with financial fair play. Our technical director at Tottenham is currently at the start of a 30-month ban of being able to operate in Italy for his role in manipulating the books at Juventus so that they could spend more money. They sent four players to France. I can't remember what the club they went to. 6 months later or a year later, they were released, not played a minute. They received £40 million for those players. 40 million. Like, Paratici is at the top of that. And he's my technical director who's continuing to operate willy-nilly as he does right now.
That's mad, isn't it? Different country, though.
It's mad.
Different country.
Mate, but what happens in Magaluf stays in Magaluf, isn't it?
I've got bands in different
unless you come back with chlamydia, in which case it doesn't say. But
Assam Majid says also the Aguero moment was recently voted the most iconic Premier League moment, so it would be essentially never spoken about officially. Do you know what would happen? So with all, say they lose all the trophies and the trophies got moved along. Do you think it will be a bit like, can't cheat. Rules are rules. It's in the handbook, as Matt Slater keeps saying whenever I watch his stuff. It's all in the handbook. And what will happen, though, is this era of Man City, it will be like, so Michael. So for those who don't know, before Michael Jackson, like that documentary came out, after he passed away, he was on the radio a lot. He was on the radio a hell of a lot. Couldn't get away from him. And his fantastic discography. You just don't hear Michael Jackson anymore. And the same with, Ryan Giggs. We talk about the best wingers ever. No one talks about Ryan Giggs anymore.
You can't talk about him. No, because of all the scandal. And they weren't like Giggsy has, he was proven to be. Michael Jackson was never proven to be, but he still has. It leaves a sour taste. Same with Stevie Wonder. The allegations are.
You literally watch this back. You literally looked around to try and find the name of Stevie Wonder so you could go after me.
You just don't know, do you? The thing is, there's an edge about him.
A musical genius edge. So that's what will happen. What I'm interested to find out is, like say with the Chelsea spending, right? All of a sudden, it was like you realised it. It sort of came out that there was this loophole. Valid loophole, totally. But Chelsea fans, understandably, were sort of initially going, what are we doing here? Why are we spending so much money? And then they went, loophole, yes! Fans went, come on, yeah, guys, no, he's ahead of the game, It's just like, but we've got to because there was no debt. We've done nothing wrong. It's a loophole. We're fine.
It's funny how like all football fans become experts, like financial experts. All I know is that in Manchester City's case that they are alleged to have overvalued the sponsorships, that ergo increasing turnover, which enables them to be more of a power in the transfer market, right? So that on the most basic form, that's
among other things as well.
Exactly.
Roberto Mancini supposedly got paid he had his contract, his normal contract, allegedly, and then he had 4 days of consultancy for the club Al Jazeera. So you just do 4 days.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was all in one go, or if he just sort of did a long weekend, or if he'd sort of pop over and go, now play him left back. Right, I'm off.
The thing is, Jimmy, is that I was going like I was waxing lyrical about the idea that Harry Kane will sign a new contract at Tottenham because he's become the ambassador of AIA, which is our main sponsor and has been for the last 7 or 8 years.
Right.
And so in my head, I'm like, well, hold on a second. Ambassador doesn't really mean anything. They're going to be paying a part of his wages, and we can pay a part of his wages, and he signed a new contract with Spurs, and everything's brilliant. But that, I don't know if that's compliant or not.
Yeah.
It may, and the same thing with Neymar. When he went to 200 million, he became an ambassador for Qatar, right? The Qatari World Cup or some Qatari sports fucking division or whatever it is. And it was given £200 million, or that was made available to pay for his transfer. I don't know if any of these things, what I'm saying is 100% true.
Yes.
But I seem to remember something along the lines.
But what's it? What I'm looking forward to, and so let me. So often we'll talk about stuff on the pod, and then it will come up. We'll get tweets about it. Feel free to tweet me when the angle or the crack appears for. Nah, we're innocent. that will come out somewhere from somewhere, I think. And Man City fans, again, understandably, will go, well, yeah, but maybe he just was holding a knife and fell over and stabbed the guy. Maybe it's like I'm intrigued to see what the conspiracy theory is because the silence of Man City fans, understandably, because it doesn't look great. Is deafening. It's tough. I'd had
at the overlap yesterday, you could see the glee in everybody. It was unreal. Everyone was so happy that this is happening. And the thing is that you don't want it. You don't deep down. You just want everything to be fair and as much as it can be. It's not. None of it's fair. I mean, if you dig into it, even as I'm saying that, I sort of stumbled on my words because you're thinking, well, what's fair? Is it fair that Tottenham can operate in the way we can because we're obviously a massive football club that we were able to brand the club correctly in the noughties and then benefited from massive sort of Premier League wealth. Is that fair on teams that weren't in the division that weren't able to do that? No, it weren't. It's not fair, is it? We're in the right place at the right time, kind of thing. Where do you draw the line?
You always say it, mate. Like life makes hypocrites of us all. But I think I actually if I was a Man City fan, I think part of me would be because let's say they're fucked, right? What does that mean? If that means relegation, so what? They're go back up in a season. It doesn't mean anything.
Won the league a couple of years after being relegated.
So that
Rangers have won the league since it's been disbanded.
Yeah. So I don't care about the punishment. I care about the right regulations that allows clubs to grow, but clubs to not disappear.
James, you want heads on spikes. That's what you want. Couple of City fans.
Yeah, big time. McInerney, you've had your time. I'm joking. Poor Steve. Poor bloke.
Oh, mate, he could see the pain in his. And he made a good point to me. He goes if something really bad does happen, Man City get chucked out of the Premier League, or maybe imagine the most extreme, they have to kind of start again. Not that that's ever going to happen. But he goes, I might have to go and get a job. I might have to I've got to think about how I can generate income.
Well, that's true. Cards on the table. You
drop out of the Premier League as a content creator is really hard.
Right. Yeah. That's because cards on the table. That would be a problem for anyone on the overlap, wouldn't it? If when that's your job, you want to be able to talk about it, but you want to be able to talk about it wholeheartedly as well. So that's why all this stuff does matter.
You lose that work for sure. You lose that work. You lose the opportunity of going on the kickoff or any of them, because and this is the way YouTube works. Unless you've built up an audience or someone as we've done in the Fighting Cock, is we've been around for so long that I think for some fans we've become linked directly with the club, not physically or anything like that, but they associate their match day with listening to the podcast and it will be a part of it anyway. And but for a lot of YouTube creators, they have to focus on what people are looking for, and that is unfortunately is like Big Six. Like when we do the Bet Victor stuff, all of it, almost every headline is about one of the Big Six or something that surrounds them. Because if you don't do that, you're risking the opportunity of that video being a success, and a lot of investment goes into each video. So you have to give it your best shot and give it its best chance, rather. So it's like, and you do great work, Jimmy, in that you've managed to. I don't know if you ever did do this, but my assumption is that you've managed to, at times, move away from what is essentially just a top six discussion, because your channel is so established. For most people, most like people like Leeds fans, I'm talking to a Leeds fan there, and like they're not there. They're not there. They have to focus on Leeds, and if Leeds drop out of the league, they're like, well, fuck, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, and I think that's why I have so much respect for the fan channels of fan channels that aren't the top six, because you're doing it out of love, because there is a ceiling, like there is, and so like when it comes to my content, I was always sort of what.
James, you've got nearly 500,000 views on Ben Foster interview. Fuck yeah! Now look at you.
Wow, just one off. But can we get? Who else can we get on it? Who else can we get on it? That's what it is. Yeah. I think I've got a series here. We just need to get someone else on it. I just don't know enough people.
Can we ask Ben Foster to hook you up, innit?
Gary Neville saw me out. No, probably when he's busy. Yeah, but I know what you mean. But what I would say is, it would create. There's a story though. Like if say like Glasgow Rangers, where they went down to the bottom, there was still a story, and so they still then made their way up. So there's ways around it. And like what I was going to say was, like with me and the channel, there's a couple of ways you can get around it. Like I've been able to do a thing where like you bring all you cover all of them in one video is one way, and then the other time you actually just do it because it feels like it's a value. But like I did a championship video last week, it's not done well. So I get what you mean in terms of
but there's value in that in itself, though, James. It might not do well like but I'm saying is you've got to a position now where you have the right to talk about whatever you want, really, as long as you're doing the right things on that at other times. But you're in a situation now where if you want to do if you want to talk about Southampton for some ungodly reason,
I kind of do actually. Can we talk about him?
Yeah, what the fuck is he about? What is he loves himself a bit, doesn't he?
So this Nathan Jones is the guy.
What?
Do you remember? I can't remember what exactly it was.
Let us know in the comments below. Nathan Jones is the kind of guy.
Yeah. So
Jesus, right. He's the kind of guy to fart and like waft it towards his own face. Oh, that smells good.
I swear we did something on him, and he was talking about Stoke.
What did he say? Just in case people have missed it, I'm sure they haven't. He said. Yeah, I remember. But what did he say, just to give context to this conversation?
Okay, it's under review after fiery post-match interview. Now, for those of you who aren't bothered, like, if you are... Because I think that's the thing, isn't it? I would say there are Premier League fans, there are your Championship fans, there are top six fans, aren't there?
Yeah.
And so I bet a lot of people don't even know about this, right? But yeah, so his... Nathan's position is reportedly under review after just 7 league games in charge.
What did he say?
What is that? Go away. They've lost 6 and won 1 of their first 7 league matches at the helm. 3-0 defeat against Brentford. My mate Dom was at that game and he said they were awful.
Really?
They're so bad. Fiery. Here we go. He said, yeah, this is it. I've compromised in terms of certain principles because of 1, personnel, but 2, the way that people want to play, and so on. I've compromised because of fans. Ooh, and so on. A few little things, but no more. I've been very successful playing a fluent style. Luton were a really aggressive front-footed side. That is true. Statistically, there weren't many better than me around Europe in terms of aggression. Clean sheets, defending the box, balls in the box, XG, all those sorts of things. We were pound for pound the best because we were spending next to nothing and producing so much. True. And I've gone away from that. Maybe it's because of the Premier League or how things look, players, internationals and stuff like that. I've had to compromise certain things and I'm not going to do that again. Jones, whose success at Luton, either side of Stoke spell, earned him the Southampton job, was backed in January. He actually he talks about Stoke in it as well, which I think is a bit off. But the thing is, right, I think, he's a kind of emotional guy. ultimately he's saying, "Oh, I've sort of been a bit too nice, and now I'm gonna put my foot down." Because the response from Southampton fans has been amazing. It's been amazing. And so I tweeted yesterday asking. So there was a tweet. Let me see if I can find it because Kai sent it to me and it was like mad. Kai's it basically all the responses are. Is this it? All the responses are just Jones out. It just says Jones out, Jones out, Jones out. I can't find it now. I can't find it. It just says Jones out. It's just screenshot. Jones out, Jones out, Jones out, Jones out. And so Southampton fans are really annoyed. I tweeted yesterday saying, like, what is this? Is this more? Are you annoyed at the performances, or are you annoyed at the way he's spoken? Because I think if you really I've watched the clip.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he's saying, and he shouldn't have said it, but he said, I've come in and I think I've maybe been a little bit starstruck, but I'm not going to do that anymore.
He didn't say that though. You're saying what he should have said. He didn't say that. That's the problem.
But
you're correct, James. You're 100% correct. But it is his choice of words that are a problem.
But can you not just accept that then? Can you not accept the intent of what he's saying? As opposed to the actual black and white words.
No, because what you're exactly how you're asking loads of people to accept nuance and context that we assume is there but might not be, and that's too big of an assumption of football fans for definite, but just people in general. You as someone who can take a step back because of your personality, go, actually, I think I get what he's saying. Not everybody has that ability, and sometimes you have to take people on face value for what they said. He came across as super arrogant, and that was his, and that's the issue. As a fan, the first thing you want before performances is your coach, who essentially is the mouthpiece of your football club, to speak in a way that shows your club in the best light, that doesn't embarrass you, that you feel like there is a togetherness at the club. And one of the main criticisms we had of Harry Redknapp, and we were great under Harry Redknapp, so much fun to watch, really good, attractive football, but he always talked about us as them. When he referred to Tottenham fans, it was them. When he referred to the club, it was them. This is what they need to do. I'm just here. And that was a big problem. Right. He did fantastic. His reputation at Spurs to this day he's high up there, right? People really loved his time there. But it was a bugbear for a lot of us, not them. Us, not them. That's what we used to say. And AVB got way more credit than he deserved, because he would talk about us as us. This is us. This is what we're doing. And he wasn't half the manager Redknapp was.
Yeah. I think there's something in here in terms of when he got the job, I thought, because the same thing happened at Stoke, where it was like, he'd come from plucky Luton. He's got short man syndrome. And so at Luton, it was like, I don't care, we're going to have a little go. And Luton like that, and I understand it. So it's a nice fit. He then went to Stoke and he was kind of trying to do the same thing. And they were like, what are you doing? Stop it. And it completely fell on its ass. So when he got the job at Southampton, I did think to myself, I thought, no, a bit like you said earlier. No. It didn't feel right. Because I think temperament is just such a big thing, obviously, especially as a manager, when you've got to do an hour and a half of interviews after defeats, and you better be bloody good.
I didn't know. I
don't know. I'm guessing. Let's say Jurgen Klopp. Like, Jurgen Klopp's not great at that, but fortunately, he's a very, 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 very good manager, and he's a bit of an alpha, and he's tall, and all those things. Like, and as a shorter man myself, you have to you've got to be smart in how you behave. Otherwise, people just go, stop it. No.
Not being self-aware, isn't it? I guess to a certain degree.
And I think that's where you're right. Like, although I can see what he's trying to say, again, you've got to be. The problem he has, and he will always have in his career, and it'll either be a superpower or kryptonite, is he's an emotional guy. And so when you've lost 3-0 to Brentford, and the thing is, Royal, and this isn't a dig at Brentford. Brentford are completely punching above their weight, and they should be delighted with that. But they will also, Brentford will know, and they've had to deal with this for a long time, is that when they beat teams, teams that think they're bigger than them. Yeah, I'm big, and being big is that's another thing. But it really winds them up. So Leeds United fans really get annoyed with Brentford, or did so for a while, because it's little Brentford and you think you should be beating them. So when you lose 3-0 to Brentford,
it's in their brain, isn't it?
It's going to wind you up. So don't come out, and that's where you're right. It's like, don't come out and go, it's not my fault. I've not been using all my powers. I'm going to use all my powers now. Very odd. But it
is odd.
He's hanging. He's
gone.
Hanging in there. Has he gone? Has he literally just got? No.
No, he's gone now, isn't he? Like, but the thing is, if that is the case, you know how to fix this. You've got a debate, and the thing is, you don't really know what he was talking about in terms of compromising. What were you compromising about? What exactly? You were playing a more defensive style because the fans wanted you to. That's not true. Yeah. So what is it?
I wish I could find that.
What is it, Jim? We've got like 10 minutes or so, and I know we haven't got a running order, but I did have a little look at the comments. There are a lot of "I can't do this anymore" moments.
Oh, really?
Should we read through? Should we read through a couple of them?
Should I head there?
Yeah, head there. I'll read the first one out. But that was a great. So many. As a Norwich fan, I can't do this any moment came when we had to organise our crowds, start cheering and pretending we scored a goal randomly during games as we hadn't scored in 12.
That's tough.
Yeah,
that's really tough.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
It's such a good line, isn't it? That's one of my favorite things about the pods. There is such a lexicon that is with us. And I do it in it's bleeding into other things now. There's so much of that. It's crazy.
I can't do this anymore.
Before we were using
the final whistle. 2-0, the least 2-0, and in the silence, the glum silence is, I can't do this. Genuine anguish from this poor fan.
Everyone, you can put yourself there so easily, can't you? The sort of just to the right of you. I can't do this.
I can't do this anymore.
I was honestly, when QPR were 1-0 up, I was like, come on. And then we drew 1-0 and I went, don't you fucking dare lose this game. Because I just knew on Twitter, everyone's going to come after me if they scored late. Oh, God. Let's see what we got here.
What was your last game? You drew?
We drew 1-1 with Huddersfield. We were right down there.
Wow.
Right, let's have a little look. 50. Okay.
Just do a couple. We'll go through.
Yeah. As a Norwich fan, have you just done this?
I've just done that one. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go by the likes on them.
And on.
Charles Fairs. I'm an Ipswich fan, staying in Norfolk. My I can't do it anymore moment was when we hired our third consecutive middle-aged Paul as manager.
Who might they be? Would I know any of them?
Right, yeah. The trivia question: can you get them before I find it? That's the game. I think Paul Lambert's one.
Paul Lambert makes sense. Paul Ince, or no, he's at Reading, isn't he?
Paul. List of Ipswich managers. Here we go. The third Paul. Paul Cook. Paul Lambert. Paul Hurst.
Paul Hurst? What the?
He's now.
No, I think David Hurst.
Yeah. They won, didn't they? You see Billy Sharp's comments. He's I love him. He's great.
You like him?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's interesting.
Man,
yeah, but he's playing against a fucking conference league club. Of course they're going to give it. They should have won as well, Wrexham. They just had I didn't see the game because they didn't have it in the hotel I was in. But
why are you so excited about Wrexham? Your voice changes.
I love what's happening there. I think it's fascinating. I think the fact that you've got Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, I think his name is. These two Hollywood stars, and there's people that are saying we don't like the Hollywoodification of lower league football, but they've come in there and they've transformed this. And it's so bizarre that they go to Wrexham. It's so bizarre that these two Americans who didn't otherwise express any kind of interest in football, let alone the team that's not even in the professional leagues, then to buy them, and then actually thinking it's not just a gimmick, it's not just a documentary, it's actually. They're making really cute business decisions. And not only that, the fans have embraced them. And when I really kind of started to really get interested in it is when I was speaking to Kai. And he was saying because he sort of said Everton, but he goes and watches Wrexham each week, and he said the place is rocking because of them.
Yeah, I bet.
And I just think it's fascinating. I really do. And the fact that they're 72 places below Sheffield United. Sheffield United are flying in the Championship, and they could have, if they scored that second penalty in the last minute twice in both ties, they should have knocked them out, and they didn't.
It's slightly false though, because they so what's his name, Paul Mullins. Like, he should be playing in League One.
He's quality.
Yeah, but he should be playing. He's a League One striker.
But why is he playing for Wrexham?
Because of money.
What did they buy him?
Yeah, so Cambridge went up. I think they even won the league. Cambridge and I think Cheltenham went up from League Two, and they took the captain from Cheltenham. Both are now League One players. They took the captain from Cheltenham, and the top scorer scored 30 goals from Cambridge.
He scored that many in League One or League Two. He's leagues above that. To be fair,
but we don't know that. That's what I mean. There's an element of fakeness to it, but
they've got money. They've got more money than everybody else. But they're minted.
Yeah. What is really interesting is the use of influence instead of actually having hard oil cash.
And it's organic, though, right? It's organic. They're bringing eyes to. They're not only that. They're bringing eyes to the conference. Not that people are going to watch the conference when Wrexham get promoted.
But it's a great story.
Wrong with what they're doing.
Wrexham's a good one. Like, that's one of those ones where that is a little bit of a cheat code, but still, that's quite a good one to buy in if you're sort of new to the sport and you want to be about. You don't want to enjoy a story like that. That's something that Man City fans could enjoy if they went right down to the National League again.
Yeah, Wrexham versus City.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying, so what you're saying, while they've got an unfair advantage, the owners that have come in and used their presence and the eyes they've brought on the football club, that's healthy. That's organic audience.
True.
It's different from a nation state coming and buying a club, and the fact they've been able to get free shirt sponsors where probably other clubs in the league can't get any. I can understand the frustrations, but it's not the same. It comes from a place of organic growth, and they're lucky, Wrexham, in the same way that Chelsea were lucky. And
you keep using the word organic growth, but it is organic growth would be something to do with like actual people from Wrexham, wouldn't it?
Just slowly getting better. Yeah, no, maybe organic growth is incorrect, but it's not. It's within the.
It feels fair, does it?
I think so. It's not fair on the other teams in the league, but it's. They've come in and not only that, they're building. There's community incentives. They've bought.
Yeah, I do love it. I do like all that, and I did watch the documentary.
Same for City have done that as well. To be fair,
places like that, all those elements are really important. But yeah, no. All I'm saying is that the team is not. I wasn't shocked. I mean, Sheffield United are a really good team. I beat ours. Did they? Anyway,
we've got them in the FA Cup now.
Yeah, but there was a lot of, because the story obviously was Wrexham going through and then playing Tottenham. It was, I could understand why that would irk someone like Billy Sharp, and I like that mentality.
Yeah, fair play. Who's the striker again? Wrexham striker?
I want to say Paul Mullin.
Is it Mullin?
Is it Phil Mullin or Paul Mullin?
It's clear. Like I didn't know that they'd poached him or nicked him, and he dropped down for the money, but. He's way too good for that league. Like he more than held his own against Sheffield United. Which would suggest that he could probably play in the Championship. He was, he was mustard.
But yeah,
it reminded me at that level a bit of KANE, a little bit.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good, but the way
he's better than Henry then as a striker.
I'm saying if he had some time in the Premier League, it could well be.
Well, give it a few years. Right. See what else we got. I can't do this anymore was when Tottenham lost the Champions League final. What? Even when we were in the title races with Leicester and Chelsea, I never completely let myself believe that success was possible. After beating Ajax, the energy was almost a physical force. It was intoxicating. The aftermath was awful. I didn't talk to anyone for like 2 days.
I used to be like that when we'd lost a league defeat. No,
I can't give you that. Sorry.
Yeah, apparently you don't like that one, do you?
No.
Well, he's not allowed to be in pain.
But I can't do this anymore.
I wasn't like that. I was like, this is a springboard. We're going to be great. And we were just garbage.
Actually, I kind of get it because she's like, oh God, I remember so vividly when it was the Europa League final and Arsenal getting pumped by Chelsea, and Wizzy had this realization that, like, oh my God, it's happening. We're going to lose this Europa League final and Tottenham are going to win the Champions League.
Yeah.
And they've got us. They've got us. They, like, I'm like he's a little rat running around all of a sudden. He's been turned into, from like a lion, he's been turned into a little rat. And Tottenham have just got, I don't know what this analogy is now, but you've got like got a hand, and they've just gone, they're just going to go, nope, you're finished.
Yeah.
But didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was it. That was the thing. That was the crushing thing.
That was the moment. What a moment.
That was the moment. It was
Champions League first. That is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the ace. That's the
Champions of Europe. You'll never sing that. That would have been incredible. And that's all we talked about. But I never believed, because we Spurs never get over the line. We never win, right? We don't the experience of following Tottenham is. I'm so lucky to be a Spurs fan. The fact that my dad was Spurs and I had to be Spurs. I could have been anything, and I'm lucky because I've got to watch players and performances and be a part of a fan base that, on the whole, is very good. So I'm so grateful for the fact that I ended up supporting Spurs, right? But compared to everybody else in that same bracket, we don't win, right?
Yeah.
So I came into that final so void of belief that when Sissoko handled the ball, or more correctly, the ball was kicked into his armpit and it was given, I was like, of course. But it wasn't even like...
That's horrible.
Yeah, but it wasn't even, I can't believe this is happening to us. I can't do this anymore. It wasn't that. It was just, of course that's happened. That's obviously that. That's with Spurs. That happens.
Fandom, yeah.
And there's no logic in that at all, because it was just a moment in a game of football where the ball hit the arm and it was given as a penalty, and it could happen anywhere. But in this moment, because of the way I've been conditioned that we won't win, I was like, that makes sense.
I said at the time it wasn't a bloody. I didn't feel like a handball.
Well, it's been changed since then. It's about the third time we've had a handball against us, or one that didn't go away, that changed the rules. Lucas Moura's handball. He fell basically against Sheffield United. Actually, he was running. He fell over.
Yeah,
he slid on his back, and he was facing the complete different direction of the ball, and the ball hit him on the arm. Bearing in mind, he's not even looking at it, and it went to Kane's path, and he scored. Now, if that happened now, that wouldn't be classed as a handball. There was another one where Danny Rose blocked a shot with his hand from about 5 yards in the Champions League quarter-final, and he got sent off. No, it was a penalty for it. Now, that position wouldn't be deemed as unnatural, so he would have got off. It's like, I don't know. Everyone has a victim complex.
It's the ripple effect, isn't it? Okay, I'm intrigued. I've only read the first few bits of this, but I'm like, this feels like last week's. So Ban Summers says, I can't do this anymore moment. We need an acronym for that. What is it? ICDTA. There you go. Also came at Portsmouth versus MK Dons. It was my 30th birthday, and my mates took me for the VIP treatment at Fratton Park. Not only was it the worst we played for years, but the team I love embarrassed me in front of my mates. I can't do this anymore. Bless him.
I've got one here from Liam Anderson. It says, I can't do this anymore. It's been recently with Everton, and I missed a few home games because I seriously can't keep doing it. The stadium is too toxic with certain fans, even though I don't want to blame them. And the whole not signing anyone in January and losing out to Danjuma on deadline day was really hard. Funny how things change, though, isn't it? Sean Dyche comes in, and then it's all magic.
Yeah, and it got little Merseyside derby. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it? One performance.
Who wins?
I say it feels like it's up for grabs, doesn't it? It really does.
It's funny. I was talking to Pajak and talking to Paul, and there's stuff going behind in the back in what would you call it? The back. What do you call it?
Backstage.
No, yeah, like where all the
Green
people
room.
No, I'm talking about the people that run the football club back in the boardroom, or whatever you like want to call it. The staff behind the scenes that make things happen. Backroom staff. That they've lost their Michael Edwards, who done all of the transfers. They've lost him. He moved on. He was there for a long time, and he's protege. I can't remember his name. They brought him in to take over. 6 months later, he's handed in his resignation. He doesn't want to do it. They had a team of sort of data analysts that would look at players and look at their performances, as all clubs do now, and really kind of hunker down on what they can bring and what their strengths are and how they fit into the Liverpool mold. They've all gone. They've all left, and a lot of responsibility has been given to Klopp, as they understand it, to Klopp. And he's really in charge of acquisitions now.
Julian Ward is the name.
Julian Ward he's the guy who's just left. He's on gardening leave, I think, at the moment. He's only been in 6 months.
Where are they all going?
They've just left the club.
Right. Must be a reason.
And it does happen. I think Gary Neville was talking about it on the overlap yesterday. He was saying that managers that are there a long time become institutional. They become the club effectively, and they're given more and more and more responsibility and more freedom to act and behave in the way that they see fit, because their resume and time at the club dictates it.
What's it like? It's not the friend zone. It's the Wenger zone. He's becoming. They're being Wengerfied, are they?
Yeah,
turning into the Wenger boys. Oh dear.
So what do you do in that instance if Klopp becomes a problem? What happens? And that's not. I'm not putting words in Chris and Paul's mouth. That's not what they're saying.
Smell a title. I smell a title. I think someone's done that already, haven't they?
Is Klopp the problem? And the thing is you say, well, you can't, like, you sack every manager before, you sack every player, you get rid of every player before Klopp. He is the guy, but is he the guy?
You know what I find a bit fun? This calm take, ready? Do you know what I find funny is that sometimes why don't they just go, it's not our season this year, we're just going to get our shit together ready for next year. Yeah. no one really does that. Liverpool could do that now, couldn't they? They could kind of go, okay, it's not really happening, is it? What do you want me to say? It's not really happening this year.
It's always next season.
It's always next season. It's always another year. Do you think fans just could deal with that? They probably couldn't. This is so funny. Tom says, so Tom Jordan's as Bournemouth channel, Back of the Net. Go check it out. It's very good. He crowbarred in is there enough juice in the goose, didn't he? Brilliantly on his channel. He said he was at the overlap. He said and you told me before with Tom, this is why it made me laugh. Apparently Tom went before in a previous overlap and they didn't have time to talk about the relegation zone or something. And so Tom had gone all that way and didn't get to speak.
They did.
Right?
They did have time. They did have time, but they just spoke about it amongst themselves and didn't go to Tom.
Oh,
and
right.
he'd driven up from Bournemouth.
That's brutal. Anyway, Tom says, being put behind the beast, Paul Machin, who's 6'4", I think, despite me being 5'6", because I support Bournemouth. I can't do this anymore. See, that's the world we live in. It's like that. Being a fan of a team outside the top six is Tom Jordan at the overlap. You're just sitting there. You're sitting there. You've turned up just like everyone else. Fucking come to me. Fucking throw it to me.
And I've got to say something. Is when the reality is when you listen to people like Tom and Sammy at Fulhamish, and the other guys that were there, when they're talking about their football clubs, Wolves, Bournemouth, it's really interesting. It's genuinely interesting. I'm not being patronising here. I'd much rather listen to them in a format like that, talk about their clubs at length, than do 30 minutes on Man City. And like I say, you have to because of the audience. But like they're all such good talkers about their clubs, and it's really interesting to listen to them.
Don't have to. I'll say that. Luke Bromwich, my I can't do this anymore moment with supporting Derby was when we all needed to get into the playoffs on the final day of the season was a point at home to Reading, who were playing for nothing. Darren Bent missed a penalty for us and we lost 3-0. Also, the pie at the ground that day was cold. proper cold. This coming a couple of seasons after losing at Wembley in the 90th minute to a 10-man QPR. To get into the Prem was just what I needed. Since then, it's been a bottomless pit of shite with a drop of administration and a hint of relegation sprinkled on top. But we might get in the playoffs in the league. In League fucking 1 this season and inevitably bottle it at Wembley. So every cloud.
Do you know, like Birmingham fans must be at that point where I just can't do this anymore. It just feels like Birmingham will never not be a sort of somewhere between a sort of 17th to 14th place Championship. I have no idea where they are in the Championship at the moment, but my guess is they're between 17th and 14th place. Where are they?
I think they're middle of the road. I think it's so. I'm not really enjoying looking at it.
I'll have a look then.
They're
18th. I knew I'd never. I had no idea where they were, but they're 18th. They're always 18th or 17th.
14th to 19th, right? No, actually, sorry, 13th. No, 14th to 19th in the Championship. Sounds like this. Just nothing. It's just nothing.
Just nothing going on there.
Because the thing is, Championship fans, Birmingham fans knows. Luke's here. Luke's Birmingham fan. What you do is you love your club and you know how it feels when something's happening. But when it goes on for so many years and nothing's happening, you're just at a stage where like, come on now, come on, just give me come on, just give me something.
Well, do you know? It's funny you said this, like about the doldrums. Like, do you know what the doldrums are? Like, they are. This is a place that exists on Earth. The doldrums.
I didn't know that.
It's a place. I don't know exactly. It's near the equator. It's in the It's in. I think it's the Pacific Ocean, and there is no wind. There is nothing. It's just still. And this place exists in the ocean, a specific area of
Atlantic
the.
Ocean.
I should Google it.
I've got it. Atlantic Ocean.
And nothing happens there.
Nothing happens there.
It's just
flat,
mild, flat water.
Yeah, that's 14th to 19th in the Championship.
I'd be interested to know from Luke, and I know we're not able to do this, but what do they need to do? But what needs to happen at Birmingham to make them not that?
I think you do you know what a gentle breeze in the doldrums is like a 2-game winning streak. Like whilst you're in 14th, there's just like a.
Hold on a minute. 7 here.
No draw.
No.
2 draws. Okay. Yeah, and that's my life. Okay.
Good.
No, I'm excited actually. I'm doing a shoot with QPR tomorrow. So,
what are you doing?
I'm doing. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Or hopefully we're like.
Well, don't say them, but
yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about it next week.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully the boys get a victory. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Any more?
No, I think that'll do.
That was nice, wasn't it? Nice little chat.
Good pod.
Yeah, solid, different. Right. If you want to join us, just to say massive apologies to our patrons because I've got a lot going on and the missus is away and we're literally doing this podcast whilst my son is napping. That's how tight it is. But we're going to struggle to do a mailbag this week, I'm afraid. And I've got the QPR thing.
Yeah, sorry about it.
And all that stuff. So apologies.
Apologies.
We will be back. And if you do want to get involved and become a patron, become a moisty, that's always lovely. We do our mailbags
live show soon.
And live show soon. We literally just need to decide a date, don't we?
Yes. I was thinking April sometime.
Yeah, you're pushing April, aren't you? Yeah. April could be good. Playoffs, isn't it? I'll be going. Right. Anyway, have a great weekend. If you're coming to the live show, you're the best ones. Thank you. Flav will be there.
Cheers.
One of the best ones.
I'm
right.
not sure if we can make it.
Oh, you and James are hooking up, are you? See you later.
I'm really looking forward to it, actually, Jim.
All right. Ta-da. Bye.